Hi, I'm Bonnie Barker with BonnieBayCrochet.com, and today we're going to make the Easy Beginner Infinity Ripple Scarf. Okay, this is a really fun project. Just takes one skein of yarn, and I'm going to show you how to wear this scarf. This is a lot of fun. It can be worn just, as a big long round scarf if you'd like, or if you want, you can double it. Okay, or if it's a really cold morning like we've been having around here, even though it's getting close to spring, you can triple it and get a lot of warmth by wearing this under your coat or jacket or whatever. All right, well, let me show you how to make this. And I'm going to be using Lion Brand's Mandala yarn. Let me give you some of the stats on this yarn. This is a number 3 or a DK or double knitting weight yarn. It's slightly thinner than the worsted weight yarn many of you may be used to working with. The number of yards is 590 per skein, and you're only going to need one skein for this project. You're also going to need a size H or 5.00 millimeter crochet hook. And as always, I recommend that you have your yarn needle and a pair of scissors handy. Now, this is the color scheme. I wanted to show you just how beautiful this yarn is. And the Mandala yarn has many other color combinations. It's self-striping, so I'm not going to have to tie any knots. And, in this yarn, the yarn is going to change all by itself. I'm not going to have to, worry about hiding a lot of loose ends. Okay, to start, I am going to make my slip knot, just like that. Give it a tug. Now we're ready to chain. We're going to chain 32. And I like to chain in increments of 5. That's 5. And then reposition. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I'm going to go all the way to 32. Now that I have my chain of 32 stitches, I'm going to work a double crochet in the 4th chain from hook. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the 4th chain. So I'm going to work a double crochet just like this. I'm working in the side of the chain, and then I'm going to work a double crochet in each of the next 5 stitches. And for those of you who've never done a double crochet, let me go ahead and slow down just a little bit. We put the yarn over the back of the hook, insert this hook into the side of the chain, pull up a loop. You have 3 loops on, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. We're going to do that a total of 5 more times. Okay, so we'll have the first double crochet here plus 5 more. I just want to be clear about that. The math in these is pretty important when you're starting the foundation. So we need 1 more. Now we're going to do something might be kind of new for you, and so I'll take it really slow. It's called double crochet 3 together, or DC3TOG is the way it's written in written patterns. And we're going to wrap the hook, insert into that chain, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, but we're not going to complete the stitch yet. We're going to do that 3 times. Yarn over, insert into the next chain, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Again, yarn over, put your hook into the next chain, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Now you should have 1, 2, 3 of those kind of half-made double crochets on the hook, plus the loop from where we started. Then we put the yarn over the back and pull through all 4 loops on the hook. And what you've just made is that little valley, or the bottom of the chevron. Now we're going to double crochet in each of next 5 chains. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. After those last 5 double crochets, we're ready to make the top, or the top of the chevron, or the peak. And we're going to do that by working a double crochet, chain 1, and then a double crochet in that same place. Let me give you a view of that. See, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. That's going to be the top of the chevron. Now we're going to do 5 more double crochets, 1 in each of the next 5 chains. Now I may be doing these double crochets a little fast. I'm going to try to slow it down a little bit. But if you ever find me going too fast in any of my videos, there's a little icon at the bottom right of the screen, right around here. It would be actually on the other side, if over here, if you're watching the left-handed screen. And it looks like a little gear. And all you need to do is click that gear and it will slow me down. You can slow me down to, a half speed. And I'll have this great bassy voice, but you will be able to see everything very clearly and as slow as you'd like. And there's always that pause button that will stop me entirely. So feel free to use those to your delight. Okay, so now we've just worked 1 stitch, 1 double crochet in each of those next 5 stitches. It's time for a double crochet 3 together, yarn over, insert hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and do that 3 times. Yarn over, insert into next stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, insert into next stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. You should have 4 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through all 4 loops, and there you go. Now we're going to work 1 double crochet in each of the next 5 stitches. At the very end of the first row, we're going to work 2 double crochets in that last stitch. Okay, so let's take a look again what we should have. So we have these individual stitches. I'll be real clear. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stitches, and then 2 stitches in that last space. Now I'm going to turn to start row 2. I'm going to chain 3. And we're going to do something a little bit different. It's not scary or anything, but it is different. We're going to wrap our hook, and instead of working through both the loops, under both of the loops, we're only going to work under the front loop. And I'll show you in a minute why we're doing this. Okay, we're going to work a double crochet there, and then each of the next 5 stitches. So it's really a total of 6 double crochets to start. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, now we've gotten to the part where it's a little bit of a valley, a little bit, the bottom of the chevron, kind of a valley. We're going to work 3 stitches together, and again, we're just going to work in that front loop. DC 3 together by pulling up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, insert into the next loop, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and do that one more time. Yarn over, insert into just that front loop, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through all 4 loops on the hook, just as a review. Now we're going to, again, just working in the front loop in each of the next 5 stitches. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Let me just pause so you can see that. Now when we get to the chain 1, we're going to work a double crochet, just working it through that entire space, chain 1, and a double crochet. Now working over the next 5 stitches, we're going to work double crochets, and again consistently just working in that front loop. I know it's a little bit different, but it's easy to learn. So that's number 4, and we're going to do one more, 5, and then we're going to repeat what we did with the DC 3 together. That's 1, 2 double crochets begun, and 3 double crochets begun, yarn over, pull through all 4 loops on the hook. And now we're going to double crochet in each of the next 5 stitches. 2, 3, 4, and 5 stitches. And now when we get to the turning chain, we are just going to work in one of the loops of the turning chain, and we're going to work 2 double crochets in that little loop there. I'm going to pause so that you can see that. Okay, and that ends row 2. But let me show you, by working in only the front loop, we've actually added this nice little ridge. Do you see? Let me hold this here. Do you see this little ridge right here? And this is going to look really cool when we get all these other colors showing up with that little ridge there. So what I have shown you with row 2 is pretty much what we're going to do for the rest of the scarf, but I'm going to do a couple more rows with you. Okay, so we're going to chain 3, and we're going to work only in the front loops. We're going to work double crochets in each of the next 5 plus that first one. Okay, so the first double crochet plus 5 more. 1, 2, 3. I am speeding up a little bit. I hope that's not too much of a problem. 4 and 5. Now we work our DC3 together. That's 1. Pull through 2 loops. That's 2. Pull through 3 loops. You should have 4 loops on the hook. Yarn over, pull through all 4 loops on the hook. Now we are going to work the next 5 stitches again, just working in that front loop. It does take an adjustment, but once you get used to it, just continue doing that. And 5. And then we get to the chain 1. We're going to work a double crochet, chain 1, and a double crochet. Now going back to working in the front loop only, the next 5 stitches, 1, 2, 3, whoops, need to have just that front loop, 4, and 5. Now we're going to work in the DC3 together over the next 3 stitches. That's 1, 2, 3, yarn over, pull through all 4 loops on the hook, and then the last 5 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then when we get to that turning chain, we're just going to work in 1 loop. Go ahead and work 2 double crochets in that turning chain. And in case you haven't figured it out yet, adding these stitches at the end actually makes up for these stitches that we're losing here. And then these stitches that are added here make up again for the stitches that we lose in the chevron, in the bottom of the chevron. So let's look at this side, and let's look at the other side. So this is going to be a completely reversible scarf. You're going to have these ridges on both sides of the scarf, which is going to be kind of cool. Okay, I'm going to do one more row for you and try to talk you through this one so that when you're, like on your, 80th or 90th row of this scarf, I don't exactly know how many rows we're going to have just yet, but once you get down the row to piece on this project, you might actually start making mistakes and maybe having the bottom of the chevron a little off-centered. And let me show you what you can try to do to try to stay on track throughout. Okay, chain 3, and again, working in the front, we do that first stitch. Now we do the next 5. 1, 2. Let's get that little fuzz off of there. I don't really want that crocheted into my project. Okay, so now we have the first stitch plus 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now when you get to working the DC3 together, you're always going to be working through the loop of 1 double crochet, and then you see this whole thing, the DC3 together, and then 1 double crochet on each side. So this DC3 together should always be in the middle when you do that, those 3 double crochets together. So just like we're going to do now. 1 is in that double crochet. The very next stitch should be that DC3 together cluster, and then another double crochet. Yarn over, pull through all 4 stitches. Now you should just be 5 double crochets until we get to that chain 1 space. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now we have the chain 1, so that works. Double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. Now let's go do the next 5 stitches. Again, just working in that front loop. And 5. Let's go ahead and take a count. Okay, there's our little V stitch at the top. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now we should have a double crochet, the DC3 together cluster, and a double crochet. That's where we're going to do our DC3 together again. 1, 2, 3, yarn over, pull through all 4 loops on the hook. Now we just do 5 more stitches. 1, 2, 3. So it is a little tricky sometimes to find that loop. 4 and 5. And then we're going to work 2 double crochets in the top chain of that chain 3. Okay, so let's pull back and I'll show you what I have so far. Okay, so this is going to be a lovely scarf. Very colorful. I just love watching the colors change on these color changing yarns. Okay, so go ahead and continue this row number 2 again and again until you get the scarf to the length that you like. I'll show you my progress in just a second. Okay, I've just completed 42 rows, and I wanted to show you how my scarf is coming out with its color changes and everything. It's been a lot of fun to watch this unfold, and I'm really looking forward to the next color as I go. Hope you're enjoying this, so just continue on. Okay, I want to show you some of the lovely colors in this scarf so far, and it was really a lot of fun to crochet. I'll show you the other side. You know, all the colors. This is where we started, and it's really a fun yarn to use. But I have gotten to the point where this is approximately 77 inches long. Let me show you how much yarn I have left, just to be, full disclosure here. I still have this amount of yarn left, so if you wanted to make your scarf even longer, you can. But I think this is a good stopping point at 77 inches, because at this rate, we'll be able to wear the scarf at least 3 different ways, maybe even more, depending on how creative you want to get with how you wear your scarf and tie your scarf and everything. So now let me show you what we are going to do. This is the beginning where we started, and the original strand here, and this is where we are ending. Okay, so I want to show you how these chevrons are going to go together. So you see they're both going down, then up, down, then up. We are going to stitch these together, and as we stitch them, they're not going to look, it's going to look kind of strange, because as you put them together, you can see where the part that goes up actually goes down, but we are going to stitch it together stitch by stitch, and I'm going to show you a very easy way to do this. I'm going to chain 1, and notice that I have the scarf laying flat. Okay, it's facing itself. Okay, so that it is laying flat, it's not twisted or anything. Because this pattern is totally reversible, it really doesn't matter where you stop and connect these. Now we're getting ready to stitch this scarf together. And don't be afraid of doing this. We're going to use our crochet hook, which I find to be much easier than using a yarn needle. If you're not comfortable doing it this way and you want to do it with a yarn needle, you're free to do that. But let me show you how much faster this is going to be. We're going to start with a chain 1, and then we're going to use a slip stitch to join this row to this row over here, stitch by stitch, and I'll show you how to do that. The slip stitch is a very fundamental stitch. All beginning crocheters, I believe, should learn how to do this. So if you don't know how to do it yet, well, get ready to learn. Here we go. For the slip stitch, we're going to stick our hook through the top of our first stitch, and then to use this to line up with the other stitch, we're going to find the first stitch, which is the hole right there, and we put our hook in. Now this is where the slip stitch is. We pull the yarn through and pull the yarn through. You notice that I did not wrap any of the stitches. Okay, now we're going to stick our hook in the next stitch, and then we're going to find the next stitch here. We put that hook in, pull the yarn through, pull the yarn through. We're going to do that all the way across. We're going to try to line up the section here, which is the decrease. We're going to try to line it up with, one of the stitches here, the main stitch that's the top there. So let's see how we do. Pull the yarn through, pull the yarn through. Stick the hook in the next stitch. And if you're having trouble finding where this other stitch is, look for the opposite. See where that stitch was crocheted into that chain? Well, just go right to the bottom of that stitch, and that'll help you pick up those next 2 stitches, or rather, I'll go through that area of the chain and pull the yarn through to the next stitch, and then find the next stitch here. Pull the yarn through, pull the yarn through. And if you have to double dip in one of these stitches along the edge, that's okay. It's not going to make a big difference, okay? Pull the stitch through, pull the stitch through. Here's one more. Stick the hook in the bottom of that chain, pull through, pull through. Just a reminder, we're not wrapping anything when we do these stitches. We're just pulling the loops through. Okay, this is the decrease stitch, and I believe this stitch is the top of that chevron. So pull it through, pull it through. So we're going to do this all the way across. I'm going to just run the video here. I'm just going to show you the entire stitch all the way across, because I do know that will serve some of you out there if you've never done this before. I just want to show you, I'll just go ahead and show you while I'm working this, that it does make a pretty minimal stitch here, and of course that will be something you'll want to keep towards the back side of the scarf as you wear it. Now if you wanted to use the yarn needle, I do believe it leaves a tiny bit less of a stitch behind, but it's up to you. This is actually, again, my preferred method of joining. I think this is working out pretty well. Okay, so now when we get to the chain 2 space, go ahead and use that as a stitch, and then use the bottom of the chevron to join those together. That works out well. And this is where it's important to have the same stitch count on all the rows. It'll make this part very, very easy to do. Okay. As I finish this up, I just wanted to ask again. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, go ahead and please hit that little subscribe button so that you don't miss any of the new offerings coming your way. And if you like this project, hit that little bell. That just, helps me to know what projects I should put out there. It helps me to know if you like something or not. And if you ever want to communicate with me, feel free to just comment down in the comment section, in the description of the video below, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. I do try to answer everybody who has questions. As the channel grows, I'm not sure how much I'm going to be able to continue that, but as far as I am able, I am going to make my best effort to make sure that I can answer everybody's questions. Okay, now we have 2 stitches left. And I'm going to go ahead and use the top of this turning chain and join it to that right there. Okay, that looks about even. Before I finish off, I'm going to go ahead and show you. See how that looks? Okay, it is a little bulky of a seam there, but I think in time it's going to stretch out a little bit. It should be fine. But I'm going to go ahead and fasten off. And we do that by doing a chain, pulling it kind of tight, snugly there. And take my scissors and cut that strand. And let me go ahead and show you how to hide the loose end. I know I share this at the end of all my projects just in case that this is the first time you've seen this. Take my yarn needle, thread it just like that, and I'm just going to run it under a row. And this is probably the easiest way to do this here. I'm going to go under this row of double crochets. Try to hide it as best as you can, and you want to try to hide it under several stitches, just so in the event that this pulls out, you don't want it to pull out, and the more stitches I believe it's hidden under, the better. It's time well spent, especially if you decide to put any of your projects in your local county or state fairs, and I do encourage you to do that. I know at our local county fair there is a special category for first-time crochet projects and a beginner's section, so you don't have to be a super pro to enter the fair. I've been doing it since I was a kid, so I mean it's a lot of fun to see how your projects do, and you do learn a lot and grow in your skills by doing so. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and clip this thread. Clip it very carefully, make sure I don't cut my crochet. And because this ball or skein of yarn was all connected, I only have 2 threads to fasten or to hide here. So I'm going to go ahead and hide the other one right here. So I'm going to be totally done with this scarf project right before your eyes. Isn't that cool? And that should do it for this strand. I'm going to go ahead and give that a little clip. And I am done with my project. I'll show you what it looks like with the front side facing. I'm going to make sure that I put this towards the back of my neck when I wear my scarf. And we are all done with our project now. Well, thank you so much for joining me. I just wish you the very best. God bless. Bye-bye.